So what we've been working on in the Indiana chapters is we worked the last few days on prime factorization. So if I gave you an easy number like 15, the prime factorization of 15 is what? 3 and 5. And remember, you have to go from least to greatest. If I give you a number like 24, let's say I don't know two factors real quick. I'm going to just say it's 2 times 12. 2 is prime, so I'm going to circle it. Factor out 12, I'm going to say it's 2 and 6. Circle the 2. The prime factors for 6 would be 2 and 3. Circle the 2 and 3 because those are prime numbers. Then I'm going to say 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Then I'm going to rewrite it 2 to the third power 2 cubed times 3. That's prime factorization. The other big part of the Indiana lessons that we're going to have our test on Monday on is about square roots. You have your notes in front of you about square roots, and it tells you all of the perfect squares because we wrote a list of all the perfect squares. Like the square root of 1 is, looking at your notes, is what? 1. The square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 9, 3. Okay, and you so forth. You're going to use this to help you today. Okay? But today, we aren't going to have a perfect square. Okay? It's going to be between a couple numbers. So if I want the square root of 18, I'm going to look on my notes, and I'm going to look to see if I have the square root of 18. I don't. But I have two that are close. I have the square root of 16, and I have the square root of 25. What's the square root of 16? 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. What's the square root of 25? 5. Because 5 times 5 is 25. I need the square root of 18. Okay? This is where, so we know it's between a 4 and a 5, right? So is my number going to be, is it going to start with a 4 or a 5? 4. Is it going to start with a 4? Because it hasn't quite got to the 5 yet, so it's not there yet. So it's going to be 4 point something. So if I know it's 4 point something, I can get rid of the 5.3. I can get rid of the 3.7. Notice I'm not using a calculator. I'm using what I know about perfect squares. Then I'm going to take a closer look at it's the square root of 18. So now I'm going to say, is 18 closer to 25 or is 18 closer to 16? Which number is it closer to?
16.
It's closer to 16, so my answer is going to be closer to 4. So is 4.9 closer to 4 or 5?
5.
So, but what about 4.2?
Yes.
That's closer to 4. So, which number is close to the square root of 18? It'd be 4.2. Go ahead and click it. We're going to go on to the next example. You guys aren't doing anything on your whiteboards yet. You guys are just watching me up here. So now I have the square root of 34. Help me out. Look at your chart. What?
36.
36. So that should be after here. Square root of 36. Excellent. Square root of 25. Now, you're writing the square roots next to it. I'm going to put the answer underneath of it. So what's the square root of 25?
5.
What's the square root of 36?
6.
Okay. So it has, why did I put a 3?
Oh, you just gave us the answer.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it did.
It didn't give you an answer. So it's going to be between 5 and 6. So I have 2 up here that I can get rid of. So it cannot be a 4.9. It can't be a 4.8. Okay? Now, can it be past a 6?
No.
So it can't be a 6.5 either.
No, you just gave us the answer.
So but let's look to make sure. I have the number 34. Is it closer to 25 or 36?
36.
So my number has to be closer to 6. Is 5.8 close to 6?
Yes.
So that's my answer. having one that's set up a little bit different. We have this, something is less than the square root of 84, which is less than something else. It's basically the same thing, but we're just going to put in the whole numbers. So the square root of 84, look at our chart. It's between what two square roots?
100.
Okay, so the square root of 81 and the square root of 100. What's the square root of 81?
9.
And the square root of
10.
So the square root of 84 is between 9 and 10. So the number here you would put would just be a 9, and then you would put a 10. Now, this isn't part of the question, but I want you to keep thinking about this. The square root of 84, is 84 closer to 81 or 100? So my number is going to be closer to 9 or 10? 9. I want you to continuously keep thinking about that. Go ahead and submit.
I have a question.
Good question.
Why wouldn't you put this, the 81 in there instead of 9?
Here, because you actually have to find what the square root of that number is. Good question. All right, I want you guys to do this one on your board. We have the square root of 8, and you're going to do it like I did on the board. I have the square root of 8. What are you going to put here, and what's going to go over here? I need to see everybody writing on the board. You have the square root of 8. What would come before it? What would come after it? Okay, so some of us look a little stumped and don't know where to begin. Look on, when you're asked to do it alone, it gets a lot harder. Here, I don't see a square root of 8, right?
Yeah.
But what do I see a square root of that's close to 8?
9 and 4.
9 and 4, but the 9 has to come after. The 4 comes before. So I have the square root of 4, which is what number? 2. And then the square root of 9 is what number? 3.
And 8's closer to 9.
And 8 is closer to 9, so my number is going to be closer to, but not quite 3. It has to be 2 point something. So in this box, you're going to put the number 2, and then the number 3.
Okay, that makes more sense. That's what
Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and submit it. Let's try another one, guys, on your boards. And this is one where you're trying to figure out what the decimal is. But remember, we start with the square root of 6. What square root comes before it? What square root comes after it? What number is the square root of that number? What number is the square root of that number? Walk yourself through it. Sorry about the delay, but what comes on the left of square root of 6?
4.
Square, and make sure you're saying square root of 4, which is
2.
what goes on the right?
9.
Square root of 9, which is 3. Okay, so it has to be between 2 and 3. So it can't be after 3. So now I have 3 choices. Look. I have a 6.
Closer to 4.
Is it close closer to 4 or closer to 9?
9.
Closer to 4.
It's
Closer to
2
4.
away from 4,
And it's 3. Oh, yes, it's
okay, and it's 3 away from 9, right?
Yeah.
Is it halfway between 4 and 9? 4,
No.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a 5.
I say,
Ugh. So we're close here. They're giving us so many close choices, aren't they? It's not like before where it was like one way close to the other than this one. So to be honest, I'm trying to come up with my own plan in my head thinking, oh my gosh, which could it be? I don't know right now, but I know that 2.7 is pretty close to the 3.
And we want to be
Okay. So we want to be a little bit closer to the 2. 2.6 is a little bit closer to the 3. So let's go with the 2.4. If we get it wrong, we're going to read why. 2.4.
2.4.
Hey! But guys, I didn't know the answer.
And I didn't know the answer
Okay.
too, and my natural response was to actually try and figure out what the 3.6 times 3.6 would be.
And that is another option. You can just find the actual answer, 3.6, instead of kind of doing what we've been doing. So which number is closest to the square root of 13? So you're going to write square root of 13. What square root is it before? What square root is it after? Write it on your boards. Tell me your numbers, and then I want to know your answer. I want your answer underneath the square root of 13. Maybe they just think we've gotten so good at this, so they're going to challenge us.
hopefully.
What should be on the left-hand side? The square root of 9. So that's a perfect square, which the answer of that is 3. What, it should be on the right, the square
16.
which is
4.
So it has to be between 3 and 4. There's only one I can get rid of. Okay? We've got another one. 9, it takes 4 to get to the 13. Takes 3. So it's kind of closer to the 4, right? So let's go with, before we say we think that's it, let's do 3.6 times 3.6. It's not going to be exact, okay? So it's 18, 19, 20, 21. Why'd I put my decimal there? What am I doing wrong?
I have no idea.
Something not right.
3 times 6 is 36. 3 times 6 is 18, 19, 20, 21. We said 3.6. Okay. So I did that right. I added a 0, and I'm going to get the same thing.
Yeah, you did the bottom part wrong.
Which one? Thank you, because I'm multiplying by the same number. See, this is why I need you guys.
Thank you.
18. 3, hey, this is why I need you guys' help. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 makes.
1,
Then I have my 2 decimals. Is 12.9 close to 13?
That's very close.
That's really close. So that should be our answer.
Oh.
I gotta learn.
I did too.
Yep.
What is this thing?
Yeah, just wait just a little bit and we're almost done. We're gonna do 2 more examples. Okay, 2 more examples.
Oh.
Square root of 19.
Oh, that's what
I had the square root of 19. What are my 2 choices?
We got 16 and
So what do we have? What do we have? Square root of
16
16 and the square root of
25.
25. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is that an answer choice?
Yeah, it says
Yes, 4 and 5. Last one. The square root of 21. Tell me what 2
Could,
is
16
going.
and
Just do it on your board. Just do it on your board. I like the excitement. If you're done, I want you to think which one is it closer to and circle it. So if I look on my paper, 21 is between the square root of 16 and, so the square root of 16 is, square root of 25 is, now is 21 closer to 16 or to 25?
25.
So my number is going to be closer to 5. Okay. This, I promise, will be on the test. You need to decide which 2 numbers it's between. If you lose your little cheat sheet, which you should have memorized, it is going, you don't get a new one. You do not get a new one. After today, you do not get a new one. I need to show you something on my, thank you. Let me just roll a minute. On my, for the test, also, on my website, here's my website, I'm going to go to Fact Practice. On the Fact Practice, once I scroll down, you will see that the only fact that I have for 7th grade is the perfect squares. That is what was on the notes. You need to study those. You also need to study under my website, beldenmath.weebly.com, which should already be a button on your home screen. Not high ability, but Gen Ed vocabulary. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click the Indiana Lesson Volume 1 Quizlet. We are going to study this for about 5 minutes, because you should have been studying it throughout the whole chapter, because I told you about it at the beginning of the chapter, and I said study them. Look at these important words, the words I've used throughout the chapter. You're going to study them for 5 minutes, and then you guys are going to take the test. That test score will be what gets submitted to today's lesson. So right now, you all need to go to my website. You need to go to the vocabulary.